So this is what I'll be using to level the 2021 Silverado for my wife. I believe this is the Mammoth lift from American Trucks or something. It's supposed to be their 2.5-inch leveling kit. So we got instructions in here. I had bought this for another truck, 2012. Never installed it, obviously, and got rid of the truck. So I figured I'll throw it on this one. Let's see here. We have a measurement. Here we go. It's about 1 5/8. Yeah. So I believe this is the same as like a Moto Fab or something. I don't know. Anyway, got the rest of nuts and bolts here. Looks like. Okay. Yeah, alright. So that'll be for the front. 2.5 inches in the front. I think these are the Mammoth. I think they're like $55, $50, something like that off of American Truck. This is for the rear. This is actually, these are the factory lift blocks off of a 2012 Silverado. These were taken off when the truck was brand new. Not brand new. It had, might have had a few thousand miles on it. As you can see, they're really in good shape. So this will go on the rear, and we are looking at 1 1/4. So 2.5 in the front, 1 1/4 in the rear, based off the measurements that I took for my particular Silverado. That should give me like a 1/4 inch rake, which I hope doesn't look nose high. These U-bolts, yeah, not sure if I'm going to use these or not. Some people say you can, some people say you can't use the U-bolts. Not sure about that one. Saved all the bolts. I took this off of the truck that I still have. I replaced with 3-inch blocks. Let's see if we can see that. The new 2019 2021s, they don't have any, as you can see, blocks in the rear. $37.5. So I've got the truck jacked up, wheel taken off. First thing I'm working on here, you got these 3 bolts that hold the top of the strut to the truck. There's this plastic thing here, you just gotta pry that off the top of the bolts here. It's just stuck on there, no big deal. 18mm, broke them loose, and now I'm using ratcheting wrench. Just want to get those loose so that when you loosen up these down here at the bottom, the strut doesn't spring into the boot here, the CV boot. Take a little there. See how it moves around a little bit. So now I'll work on pulling these off just so they don't get pulled. I'll slide them out of here. Undo them from here. And undo the whole thing up top here, just so they don't get pulled if this happens to drop out of the way or anything. Then I'll work on the bottom there. See how far I actually need to go. If I have to take out this sway bar, they say that I need to take the sway bar out. They say I need to do the tie rod end. I don't know. We'll see. See how that goes. I got a little carried away. I ended up going a little further than I had intended. I already have the strut out. You can see I did end up removing the tie rod, disconnected the sway bar. I just have it tied up. I really don't want to. I'm nervous about damaging anything here, so. But I got that out. So now up next, we have these bolts that thread in. Let's see if I can do this. They thread in here, like that. Thread all the way in. I don't know where I put my Allen. Anyway, they'll thread in. You'll see that'll make the new stud to hold this to the truck. And this, oh, hang on, let me pull that up through there a little bit. So the strut, the spacer here goes onto the strut. Now, they aren't exactly, you have to find the right, just keep spinning it around until you find the way they line up. I feel like I've already missed it. What do we got going on here? Oh, because I'm using the wrong holes. I'm an idiot. Alright, so this will line up with these holes, but you do need to spin it around to find, there we go, find the right ones. So you'll take the new locking nuts here, nylon nuts, whatever, and they'll thread in. I'm not going to be able to get in there right now, but they thread in to hold the spacer onto the strut. Alright, so I'll get that put together and get that put in the truck. So these nuts here, not sure why, but when I was torquing down to the specified 54 foot-pounds, I had a couple strip out. I don't know what the markings on here mean to tell me if what grade or they might be or whatever. It says XC on it. I don't know. Either way, sent the wife to the hardware store, got some new stainless steel nylon locking nuts. Actually, she had to go find 2 more, so she took the other one with her. But I was able to get it torqued down. So when you put the studs through onto the spacer, I have these 2 in here. She's got the other one. Going to use an Allen there. Torque them down to 54. Then when you put it onto the strut, you run, apparently the supplied nuts are the ones that you go to the hardware store and get, which might be hopefully better. And you run those down onto the strut and torque those to 54 foot-pounds. I already started taking the sway bar apart. You got a 9mm to hold the end right there. Hold that end while I'm using a ratcheting wrench to take the nut off. Over here, think it was a 21 millimeter. And then I'll just hammer that, knock that out. Up here is an 18 for the ball joint, and I still got to do the 10s down here. And then I'll do the exact same thing I did on the other side. And hopefully I'll get this all put back together smoothly. So I sent the wife to the hardware store. She picked up some new nylon locking nuts. These are the ones that came with the kit, and I pulled the threads out of, like, I don't know, 3 of them, trying to reach the 54 foot-pounds of torque that they were specifying on the instruction sheet. So she ended up getting these from Ace Hardware, and they all torqued right down, no problem. I didn't have any issues whatsoever with that. So I got the spacers all put on. Now, the one issue that I had, or I'm having, was I'll show you here. So the one issue that I have is when we take the strut out, you have 1, 2, and 3 bolts. Those go up into the mount up top. Alright. Well, at the bottom, that is at a slight angle. It's not perfectly straight. It's at a slight angle, and it mounts into the lower control arm. Well, by covering these bolts with a spacer, you're now going to spin it 180 degrees and use the bolts that are supplied from the spacer. That puts the bottom mount going to the other side, so it doesn't line up. So what I did, not having a vise or really much of anything that I need, I took this, spun it around so that I could bolt it in, hanging out like this. I bolted that in just enough, and I took a long pry bar, put it between the 2 bolts, and rotated 180 degrees. It actually was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Pull this down. So now everything should line up just like it did before. What I'm going to struggle with is I'm going to have to pull this axle shaft out. Really did not want to, but I'm going to have to pull it out so that I can get enough droop without overextending the CV joints. Brand new truck, really don't want to mess that up. So I'm going to undo the axle nut, drop this down, and hopefully get it bolted back in, because I'm not able to get enough droop on that lower control arm to get this in. Alright, 2.5 lift level is installed. Just under 40 inches. I didn't do the rear, so the rear should basically be the same. Wait a minute. Wasn't it taller before? Either way, we're at just under 39, and it was just under 40, so definitely got to get that block in the back. Alright, we got the 2.5 inch level in the front, 1 1/4 in the rear. Let's see here. We got right from the ground through the center. This side is, oh, is that right? 40 1/4. What's the other side? Maybe it's just where I'm parked. Come on now. Oh yeah, it is just a touch lower on this side. That's strange. Maybe it's just the ground I'm on. Alright, let's check the rear. Right to the ground, through the center, just over 40 1/4. That's it, 40 1/4. I guess it doesn't get any more level than that, does it?